to the Student Showcase. I'm your host, Malcolm Miller, a broadcasting major at NVSU, and I'm here along with my special guest, Jasmine Sanders. Today's topic will be, should college student athletes be paid? Now, Jasmine, as a college student athlete here at NVSU, do you believe that student athletes should be paid? About those many cases that have been, all over the news and things of that nature. And it comes from a lot of players going through different things, rehab, they're putting their bodies on the line every single night for a university to represent a school. So as a player, you've been hurt before with a torn ACL. So what was that process like? So if you are to pay college student athletes, do you pay athletes the same, or does it depend on the school, or how would you go about doing that? Well, this has been this edition of the Student Showcase. Again, I'm your host, Malcolm Miller, along with Jasmine Sanders. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
My thoughts were that I was excited for the game. The weather was cold, but I was just excited for Valley to get a chance to showcase their skills on national TV and show that there is great football being played here in the Delta, and that we have a great program here, a lot of gifted guys that can be, nationally displayed. He's worked hard all season. You have to feed him. He's definitely a playmaker. He's a stat sheet stuffer, and he's there for a reason, especially he's a threat offensively. For the defense, it's hard to stop him. He's quick, he's physical, and he doesn't shy away from the contact. So you definitely need to get him involved and just reward him for the great season he's had and get him to the Mr. 1000 club. It feels good to have your adrenaline rush and you get those sacks, but unfortunately the Delta Devils, they couldn't protect Quantavious Peterson as best as they could have. Quantavious, he's playing well. He's fit into this role very nicely and developing, but it doesn't help when his offensive line isn't securing him enough. You have young players that played their role this year that got their feet wet early. So next year they'll be prepared, to go out there and defend and fill those roles that the senior players left. Also to the seniors, we definitely appreciate your service here at Mississippi Valley State University. You served us very well, and we were proud of you and your play on the field. Have a couple players with pro potential as well, so
yes, we do.
Excited about that. But the best opportunity for the team to win is when you're healthy and on the field. So do everything in your power to stay healthy and not take those big hits. He has to learn how to slide. All the great quarterbacks in the NFL, they learn how to slide, and it keeps them from getting injured. The Delta Devils, they came out trying to fight back, but we had some miscues and some things that went wrong for us. We missed 2 field goals. That was a big disappointment right there. And also, we got into 2 yards of scoring. We couldn't get into the end zone 3 times.
Oh, man.
And unfortunately, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You have to score. When you're that close in, you have to get a score. A touchdown has to come about. And unfortunately, the Delta Devils couldn't get that touchdown. Charlie Crenshaw is a guy to, look forward to in the future years coming up. He's a young, talented kid, a freshman. He's going to make an impact on this program for a long time to come. So I think Delta Devils fans and alumni should definitely look out for him. A lot of hosts of young guys, Keenan Daniels as well, the young wide receiver, had 2 catches for 36 yards. And also a guy that's injured now, Tavis James, is a great receiver as well. So even though we're losing a senior veteran leadership like Julian Stafford, we have young guys that can definitely fill those roles. He needs to get those touches early, whether it's some screen passes, just get him involved and get his hands warm, get his feet wet, a little feel for the game. He definitely needs that. I compare him to a guy like Steve Smith, not the tallest guy, but can be physical. Hello, and welcome to this edition of The Coaches Show. I'm your host, Malcolm Miller, and this edition of The Coaches Show, we will talk about the men's and women's basketball games for the respective seasons. Robinson, after the game, he mentioned about how, his girls have to work on closing out games because it stayed close until about the 3-minute mark. Later on into the game, we had some great plays that came about. Also, Chelsea Mabry is a player that came in and gave a big boost for the Delta Devilettes. I mean, she's a strong presence with her length and also ability to distract players from hitting shots. She caused a lot of players to adjust when she's underneath that baskets. Now, those were the highlights from the game against Texas Southern. Now we're going to talk about the men's side of the basketball. The NVSU Delta Devils were in a thriller against the Texas Southern Tigers. It was a spectacular game. Went to triple overtime. Unfortunately, we fell by a score of 85-84 in the 3rd overtime. The Delta Devils showed heart and showed what they were made of, especially all without their leading scorer. So it says a lot about this basketball team. We had some key baskets. One, I remember a spin move from Vaisha Vaughn off the glass that shocked me because we all know Vaisha's not really a scorer. He's more of a defender and a rebounder and a guy that hustles for the team. But When he needed him the most, he came up and stepped up. I mean, he came out firing, hitting on all cylinders. He had a lot of key shots, and you seen it. He was feeling that game, and he wanted it for his teammates as well. Also, Isaac Williams, again, came out with another fantastic game. He's showing what he can do when his confidence level is high. And also, Jeffrey Simmons came out. The man has something to prove. He looked like a madman on a mission. Well, this has been this edition of the Coaches Show. Stay tuned and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about some basketball next time. Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Malcolm Miller, and we're out.